This is Gemara Menachos, Daf Mem Dalid, and we're holding at the very top of Mem Dalid Amud Aleph. We're on the top line as we continue the discussion about Tchilas, the mysterious, actually, blue thread in our tzitzis. Whether we have Tchilas nowadays or not is a hot point of debate, which we will not be getting involved in. We know many Gedalim have espoused that we do not, as they do not wear tchilas. But either way, we're in the middle of the Gemara's discussion on the top of Mem Daled Amud Aleph, the first line. And once again, with Purim on the horizon, anyone who'd like to partner, please reach out and grab those chosim of a Daf Gemara on Purim. Tana Rabbanan, says the Gemara, Chilazin zehu gufay dama zehu gufay doimaliyam. Chilazin. What is a gufay damaliham? Its body is like the sea. Ubriyasai, and its anatomy is daimalidog, is like a fish. This is the line, the debated line, how to figure out whether we have a chilazin or not. And it comes up once in 70 years. Ubidama yisayim techilas, and with its dam we die, the blue dye of techilas. Lefikach. And because it's a fish that comes up once in 70 years, says the Gemara, therefore, dam of Yikarim, it is very expensive. So, that's the line. Whether we have it or not is not our point of topic for tonight. But that is the Makar, Menachos, Memdal, and Menalf. Tanya, we learned in a Raisa, Rabbi Nahasan, Ein lecha kol mitzvah kalish eksuva b'Torah, she'ein matan schara ba'olam hazeh. There is no light mitzvah in this that's written in the Torah whose reward you don't get in this world, and u'la'olam haba, and in the next world. Ein yodea kama. I don't even know how great the reward will be. Remarks from Nasan about the reward of a mitzvah. Say ulamad, go and learn me mitzvahs tzitzis, from the mitzvah of tzitzis. Maisa by the Mechler story with one verse in Sheyazayir b'mitzvah tzitzis. Shama, he heard Sheyzayna b'karkei hayam. There was a certain Zayna. Should I tell his Dalin Me'ay Zehuvim b'schara? She charged 400 golden dinar to have time with her. Shiger la arba me'ay Zehuvim. He sent her the payment. He sent her the 400 zuz v'kaval azman, an insane amount of money that he paid to be together with this particular Zaina. Comes the time for this person to be over a terrible avera. He comes and he's sitting by the doorway. Nechlesa shivchasav amrla. The shivcha, the maidservant of the Zaina, her, attendant, came and said to her, that guy, remember the guy that scheduled a visit for 400 zuz? Well, guess what? He's here waiting for you. Amra, she said, Yikanes, let him enter. Nichnas, he entered. He tialai zalin mitais sheis shel kesef v'achas shel zav. She prepared 7 beds, one bed on top of another, an incredible, majestic show of both lust as well as opulence. 7 beds of silver and 1 bed of gold. Between each bed, there was a silver ladder you had to climb up. You had to climb up in order to reach her. And the top bed was made out of gold. Also, and she was sitting there on top of this top bed. We shouldn't picture, but we can almost picture this insane scene of 7 silver beds with a silver ladder. You have to ascend one to another, in the top golden bed. And there's this horrible Zaina on top of all of it. Shehi Aruma. And she's sitting on top of all these beds undressed. And he went up and he began to climb the 7 beds to be with her. He climbs up undressed. And as he's climbing, his tzitzis went and slapped him on the face, meaning he's getting undressed, but his tzitzis hit him. Nishmat. He slipped down the ladder of Yashav al Garbe Karka. And he's down on the ground, Vafi, and she as well, Mishmatav Yashal Gawe Karka. So he's on the way to do the Avera. He gets hit by the tzitzis and he chabs himself. So he goes down, he sits on the floor, and she comes down and she sits next to him, Amru Lai. She says to him, Gabba Shal Raimi, by the master of Rome, Sheini Mani Choscha Chetoimerli Ma Mumri Sibi. I'm not gonna let you leave until you see. Tell me what's wrong. This Zaina cannot fathom. This guy pays 400 zuz. She's sitting there on top of these on the golden bed, on top of the silver beds. He's on his way up. He then stops. He goes down. She figures it must be that he saw a sort of mum, and she says to him, "I'm not letting you leave until you tell me the problem." Amar lo. He says to her, "Ha'avaida," which is a lashon of shvua, taking an oath. Shaloi re'isi isha yafa kamaischa. He says to her, "I make a shvua. I've never seen someone as beautiful as you." So she's like, "So." Elo mitzvah achas ivani Hashem Elokeinu. One mitzvah God has commanded us. V'titis shema. And you know what this mitzvah's name is? Titis. Uksiv ba, and it says about it, Ani Hashem Elokeichem shtei pamim. Regarding titis, it says, I am Hashem your God 2 times. Ani ushaseli para. One teaches you, I am the God that's going to pay back. V'ani ushaseli shalim schar. Either I'm going to be the God that has to give punishment, or I'm going to be the God to give reward. Achshav. So this guy says to the Zaina, now, Nidma like Arba Edim. These tzitzis are like 4 Edim that appeared to me. And he realized he can't do it. Amra Loi, she says to him, Eini mani chacho ad shetoimar li. I'm not going to let you leave, she says, until you tell me ma shimcha, ma shem yirecha, o ma shem rabach, o ma shem yidrashcha, shata lamed ba'tayra. She says, I'm not letting you go until you tell me your name, till you tell me where you come from, till you tell me your Rebbe, till you tell me what yeshiva you're in, till you tell me where you learn Torah. Kosav, he wrote it all down. V'nasan biyad, and he put it in her hand. Amda v'chilka kol nechaseha. After he leaves, she gets up and she splits up all her nechasim. You can imagine the wealth that this woman has sitting on these gold and silver beds. Shlish lamalchus. She gives 1/3 to the government officials. Rashi says, why? It's a bribe to allow her to be Megayer. Shlish la'aniyim, 1/3 she gives to aniyim, u'shlish nala biyada. And 1/3 she takes in her hand. Chotz, except for me'oisan matza'ois. Those beds, those linens, which she brought with her, the 6 beds of linen and gold, could be the linen, the bedding. Ubasa, she comes the base midrasha shel Rav Chia. She comes the base midrash of Rav Chia. So over here, different sheet is exactly which Rav Chia this is. Taisus weighs in on. Amra Loi, she says, Rabbi, Tzivai Live Yasunigi Ayres. Tell me what to do. I want to be Megayer. Amar Loi, he says to Biti, Shema Yinechan Asati Bechem and Talmidim. Maybe the reason you want to be a Megayer, you want to convert for for ulterior motives. Maybe you saw one of the Talmud you want to marry, she just be Megayer to marry him. She takes out a note from her hand and she gives it to him. This was a note written by that Talmud that told over the whole story, and she was showing that she wants to be Megayer L'shem Shemayim. She realized the incredible zchus of a mitzvah. She wants to come to Judaism. Amar la, she's Megayer, and then he says to her, L'chi zaki b'mikchecha. So after she was Megayer, he says to her, go and pick up your acquisition, go and find that boy that you want to marry. And of course, the Mefarshim here explain that Avada, she was being Megayer 100% L'shem Shemayim. And after the Giyayres, after she's now here, they said to her, okay, now Lamaisa, you want to marry that boy? You could. She did. And those same beds those 6 silver beds and the golden bed. Sheitzi Eloi beheter. They now were prepared for him beheter, and she was with him. She married this Talmud. Mat zu matan schara ba'ilam hazeh. Says the Gemara, Dr. Ramnalson, you want to know what the schar of tzitzis is? This is the schar in this world. The next world, I can't fathom how great it is. We see such an incredible story. We see the hashkacha, we could call it, of the fact that he was wearing tzitzis, saved him from a horrible avera. We could see the power, how it enabled this woman to be Megayer. And ultimately, we could see the schar. We could almost vision the picture of the schar. We see how this man, what did he get? What was the schar for the mitzvah? Is that he Lamaisa was able to marry this woman, Beheter. Amar Rav Yehuda, says the Gemara, one final halacha about tzitzis, talis she'ula, a borrowed talis, Kol shleishim yoyim petumen. Tzitzis for 30 days, but from tzitzis mikam ve'elach after 30 days. Chayeves, if you borrow for more than 30 days, you're chayev tanam mihachi. In a similar vein, hadar b'bumtiki b'Eretz Yisrael. You live in an inn in Eretz Yisrael. V'zachabayis b'chutz la'aretz kol shleishim yoyim. For 30 days rental in chutz la'aretz patim min hazazah. Mikan ve'elach chayev. Aval ha'seich rabayis Eretz Yisrael. You rent out in Eretz Yisrael. Yisim zizal ha'alter b'shem yishav Eretz Yisrael. Very important halacha that a rental in chutz la'aretz is pater from mezuzah for 30 days, but important to know, people think it's a din in 30 days. No, it's only a rental. If you buy a house, then you're chayiv in mezuzah right away in chutz la'aretz, even in chutz la'aretz. Says the Gemara on the 4th wide line, Mem Dalet Amud Aleph, Tefillah shel yad eina ma'akeves, quoting the next part of the Mishnah, that tefillin shel yad, tefillin shel rosh, each a separate mitzvah, neither one is ma'akev the other. Amar Rav Chisda laishanu al shei shalai. Zok Rav Chisda is only in a case where he has both tefillin and he wears one of them. Aval ein lai ma'akeves. But if he doesn't have tefillin shel yad, tefillin shel rosh, and he only has one of them, then each one is ma'akev, and you're not allowed to wear one without the other. Amar lai, amarta. Did he really say this? I don't understand. Just because you only have one, you still should just wear that one. Amar lehu lai, elaman delesle trei mitzvahs, chan mitzvah, nami. Alman de Leslie Trey mitzvahs, Chan mitzvah nami l'eleven. That makes no sense. If you can't do 2, you shouldn't do 1. What does that mean? Says the Gemara, you're right. So meikar my suffer. What does your hava mean? It sounds like that's mamash what you said. Says the Gemara, you know what the hava mean was? That maybe you'll be negligent and you're not going to even try to wear both tzitzis. So tefillin. Says the Gemara, Rav Sheshes kol sheina miniach tefillin. If you don't put on tefillin, oiver. Bishmaina say 8 daraisas. Shein loy tzitzis big if you don't put tzitzis on your garment. Oiver. Chamisha say. Chol kayin shein oil dochen. Oiver begimel say very important. Eretz Yisrael dochen daily. Kayin you have to dochen. You have to dochen. And if it's not possible, then you got to leave the shul. But if you're there, you're over in 3 assays. Kol shein lo mezuzah b'pischa over b'shnei asay chusavtem uchsavtem. V'amrei shlakish last line. Komnei tefillin ma'arich yamim. You wear tefillin, you get arichos yamim. Shenemar, as the pasuk says. Well, excuse me, where do we go? We turned over to Mem Dalet Amud Beis. Hashem aleihem yichyu l'chol bahen chaye ruchi v'tachlimeni v'achiyeni. Says the pasuk. Where's this pasuk? Pasuk in Yeshaya says the pasuk, Hashem, they shall live, and there should be a life of spirit, and you'll heal and you'll cure me. The pasuk is talking about those who wear tefillin, put the name of Hashem upon them, that are richos yamim, they're going to receive. And from there, we continue, Mem Dalet Amud Beis, a new Mishnah. A Mishnah that continues with different parts of a mitzvah, whether they're dependent one upon another, but really bring us back to Mesechus Menachos, back to Karbanos world after a bit of a segue into different mitzvahs, tefillin, stam, mezuzah, tzitzis, etc. Says the Mishnah, Ha-soiles v'ha-shemen ein ma'akvin es hayayin. The soiles, the flour, the shemen, and the oil of minchas nesachim are not ma'akev the wine. V'lo hayayin ma'akvin, nor is the wine ma'akev. Hamatanoi shalom mizbeach achitzayin. The matanois on the outer mizbeach ein ma'akvois zu are not ma'akiv one another. If there's multiple times you have to place dam, and you do even one of them, you have your kapara, even if you did not do all of them. Ein ma'akvos, zu is zu. They're not ma'akev each other. Tana Rabbanan says the Gemara, quoting a pasuk, Menachos v'niskeyem, hava mincha v'achach hava nisachim. So we learn from this pasuk, bring a mincha, then bring the nisachim. What does that teach us? That first, for the fact the pasuk says Menachos v'niskeyem shows us first bring the mincha, then bring the nisachim. Rabbi Omer zevach u'nisachim, havach zevach, bring a zevach, bring a carbon, and afterwards bring the nisachim. Says the Gemara of Rebbe Nami, and Rebbe as well, who says that nisachim come first. Haksiv u'minchasam v'niskeyam. Says, so what does he do with the pasuk? U'mibayle minchasam v'niskeyam balayla u'minchasam v'niskeyam afilu l'machar. They could be brought even at night. They could be brought even the next day. Rabbanan, what do they do with the other pasuk? Nami haksiv zevach u'nisachim. The classical game of ping pong. U'mibayle l'chdeziri damar ziri. What is the din of ziri? Ein nisachim miskadshim elu b'shchitas hazevach. That the Nesachim do not get their sanctity only with the shchita of the carbon, and that's what he learns out from the other pasuk of Zevach Unesachim. Rabbi Nami v'ayelech leziri. What does Rabbi do with this drasha? Rabbi Nami v'ayelech minchasam v'niskeyem b'layla u'minchasam v'niskeyem v'lamachar. So each one needs the other drasha. So says the Gemara, you're right. Ella rather hainu taima. The Rabbanan, the reason of the Rabbanan is that save oilo minchasa. Oilo mincha, excuse me. Hi, Rabbi Nami, accept oilo mincha. Ella b'boim imazevach. Says the Gemara, in a case where the minchas nisachim comes together with a carbon, they're being brought together, then the kuli amalei pligi de mincha v'achach nisachim, everyone's masking. Dog save oilo mincha. Keep li. What's the machlaikas? B'boin b'fnei atzmon. That's the machlaikas. The minchas nisachim that goes by itself, mincha v'achach nisachim. So it goes mincha and then the nisachim. Excuse me. Keep li b'boin b'fnei atzmon. V'rabbanan tzavim mid'boin imazevach mincha v'achach nisachim. So therefore b'fnei atzmon nami mincha v'achach nisachim. But the Rebbe also daidi daschol ba'achila gamla lekulei melsa da'achila. Avol b'fnei atzad esacham adifi hoyol demit amra shiyara alayu. But says Rebbe, but the minchas by itself, the nesachim are better. Why? Because the misamra shira, the shira is recited over it, and therefore it takes precedence. Goes first. Says the Gemara, ending off the Mishnah, Hamatana shal mizbeach achitza and ein makveizu as utana rabbanan. U'menayin l'chol hanitin al mizbeach achitza shenazim v'matana achas. Where do we know that everything that's placed in the mizbeach achitza has to be placed together? Shekiper. How do we know? Excuse me, shenitam b'matana achas. If you even only did one matana, you get the kapara. Shenamar v'dam zevachach yishvach al mizachecha Hashem Elokecha, showing us that even one time it's placed is enough to give the kapara. We'll pick it up from the Mishnah, B'siyata Dishmai.